Sneako just blew up his own moment live on stream after accidentally eating pork, and the chat went wild. Spam everywhere, people yelling, "Are those beef ribs?" Then instantly flipping to, "That's pork, that's bad," as the clip spread fast.
Only take a bite of a pork. Fake Muslim! Fake Muslim!
What started as a regular stream turned into a full-on faith debate in seconds, and the internet smelled drama right away. During a Thursday stream, 27-year-old kick streamer Sneako, who converted to Islam in 2023, unknowingly ate pork ribs handed to him by a guest. The mood flipped when he realized what happened and reacted with straight-up shock.
I just found out I just almost had pork by accident. I thought it was beef ribs. It's baby back ribs.
One time might be an accident, but people online were quick to say that when it keeps happening, it looks like a pattern. Sneako hasn't exactly built a reputation for following every rule perfectly, and this moment just added more fuel to the talk. He also broke his fast and forgot it was Ramadan, which made the situation look even messier.
After he converted or reverted, this is what Sneako said about Islam.
I am not moving into an Islamic. You people want me to move into a mosque. You betrayed us. Get a life, bro. Get a life. Having fun as an adult is so hard without alcohol. How much stuff do I have to give up? Pork, fun, alcohol, women, gambling, music, about everything. I can't even invest my...
God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. That line started circulating instantly, but critics weren't buying it. People mocked the situation hard, saying it was just not eating pork, and somehow even that turned into a struggle.
Yeah, I just found out I just almost had pork by accident.
Sneako fired back, clearly heated after seeing his name all over social media. People clown on my diet so much it became Twitter news. It's simple. I just followed Jesus. He didn't eat pork either. But that response didn't land the way he thought.
Wallahi, I made a mistake. Wallahi, I made a mistake. Wallahi, I made a mistake.
People pointed out that nobody was clowning him for avoiding pork. They were clowning him for slipping up and then deflecting. Some even said a devout Muslim sticking to the rules gets more respect than someone looking like a LARPer online. Dude, again, nobody gives a single "you don't eat pork, man," and deflecting out to Jesus as a gotcha is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen.
The chat is just spamming. Are those beef ribs? That's pork, man.
Stop. So you are a little...
Is it pork?
That quote summed up the backlash perfectly, and the debate only kept getting louder. His massive ego won't let him just say, "Oops, my bad, I didn't know it was pork," and move on. If he said that, literally nobody would still care. Instead, he took it personal, got defensive, and turned a simple mistake into a whole identity meltdown online.
Take a bite of a pork. Fake Muslim! Fake Muslim! Do you see the difference? Like, bro, I can't even... Bro, it's so obviously a mistake. Everyone knows.
People pointed out how wild it looks when someone leaves Christianity claiming they didn't understand the Trinity, then keeps running back to Jesus every time things get uncomfortable. Some even joked, did Sneako forget he's Muslim now? Because he sure brings up Jesus a lot when the heat is on. Muslim viewers even jumped in saying, yes, Jesus is respected in Islam as a prophet, but that doesn't magically erase what just happened.
Jesus didn't eat pork. How many times do I have to say that? Do they know anything? Do they know anything about the religion? Jesus didn't eat pork. If you're gonna call me cringe for not eating pork, you're calling God cringe. You worship somebody who didn't eat pork, so why would you eat it? This is the stupidest rhetoric I'm seeing from literally all of Twitter.
And to be fair, yes, the Bible does prohibit eating pork. That part is technically true. But the problem is we all watched him eat pork live while acting like it wasn't pork. That's where the clowning really comes from. You can't play confused on camera and then rewrite the story after. People started calling it the grifting Olympics because somehow the explanation kept changing.
So many of these why don't you just eat the pork? God, in your view, didn't eat pork, but you eat it. Respectfully, shut your stupid goy mouth and focus your rhetoric on something else because you don't know what you're talking about.
Even worse, rumors started flying that he ate it again after the stream, which only made things look messier. Some critics even said a big chunk of his audience comes from places like Pakistan and Malaysia, not Western countries. That sparked more debate, but one thing people did admit is this. Compared to others in his lane, Sneako is still more consistent than Andrew Tate.
Eating pork on Minecraft, haram.
Really?
That bar might be low, but consistency still counts in this internet circus. This is just my opinion, but it really feels like he's slightly LARPing, even if it's way less shameless than other influencers out here straight up pushing gambling sites nonstop. And let's be real for a second. Isn't Kick heavily tied to gambling anyway? That means the checks he's cashing are probably connected to gambling money. A lot of people started asking, wouldn't that be considered haram?
But this is like the dumbest
That's not even a gotcha, it's a real question. I'm not trying to trap anyone here, so if you actually know more about that, drop it in the comments. But people cracking jokes saying, bro, you're already going to hell, why not enjoy some spare ribs, are missing the point. He's not cringe because he ate pork, he's cringe because the explanations keep shifting and it comes off like straight grifting behavior. Doing a full 180 like that is wild, even though people can change their opinions over time. Still, the old clips don't disappear. This one especially speaks for itself. Before converting, he was mocking Islam, then even after converting, he joked around during prayers, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And yes, Muslims aren't supposed to criticize others, but the internet doesn't play by those rules. People noticed he keeps forgetting things. The Red Bull during Ramadan, now the pork. That pattern is exactly why people aren't letting this slide. Sneako accidentally eats pork on stream and instantly the clip explodes everywhere. Reddit grabbed it, clipped it, reposted it, and turned it into a circus in record time.
Not true.
Two big downs, he's a liar and a grifter.
That's just not true.
Yes, it is.
I'm not a grifter. Okay, why do they only criticize Muslims for not being perfect, but Christians and Jews and Hindus and everybody else, they can sin?
People were sarcastically saying, oh God, like his entire afterlife just collapsed in one bite. Others joked he was totally going to heaven before this, while still calling him a straight-up drifter for how he handled it. Come on though, he's been Muslim for almost 2 years, and people are asking how you order ribs off Uber Eats and don't even know if they're beef or pork. One commenter even said, I'm an ex-Muslim from Egypt. There's zero chance son is actually a Muslim or believes in the Quran.
Are you gonna call them a fake Christian? I get called a fake Muslim because I'm not hitting morning prayer.
Well, no, they're just Christians who are, not fully succeeding. You're just a guy pretending to be Muslim.
That quote alone lit the comments on fire. A lot of critics believe he did it for clout, similar to Andrew Tate, because there's clearly a huge market for this content. They claim there's also an army of fans who will defend him no matter what he does. And yeah, you'll probably see some of them in the comments section.
I think you thought it might be a good look. Like,
for Rumble?
No, not for Rumble.
How does that help streaming, being Muslim?
Maybe not just streaming, but I think that it'll be easier to get a specific audience. You're easier to relate to.
People from Pakistan.
But here's the part people keep missing. Fun fact, in Islam, the prohibition against pork actually comes with a caveat. If it's eaten accidentally, there's forgiveness for ignorance or forgetfulness. You have to knowingly sin. That's why people are confused why he got so pressed, raising his stress levels, deflecting to Jesus, and dragging other religions into it over a Reddit award. Some even find it ironic how many rules get bent, but pork is treated like the ultimate hard line.
I forgot!
And that contradiction is exactly why this debate refuses to die. They won't cross that line. Not trying to generalize, just a funny pattern I've noticed over time. And you know why? Because not eating pork is actually very easy. That's why people find this whole thing ridiculous. The same guy was out clubbing, singing along to a Neo song with a group of self-proclaimed white supremacists, but suddenly pork is where the panic kicks in.
People hold you to a different standard. It's funny that the same time, like the same day where, I accidentally take a bite of pork and spit it out, that gets international, that's literally everywhere, millions of views. That's the same day that Elijah Schaefer and Sarah Stock, these are both conservative Christian creators, I know both and I like them both. Apparently, Elijah was Sarah's boss and he sleeps with her. They're both married and they're cheating in their relationship and it was exposed. You could see different standards being placed. Christians will be like, okay, they're imperfect, they're sinning, and I agree.
And yes, to be fair, most of those guys weren't even white, but the contradiction still hits hard. It honestly feels like he's hurting internally, because nobody should care this much about a simple mistake. Nobody. Meanwhile, you've got dudes from across the world typing non-stop, going full defense mode for Sneako like it's their full-time job. One guy from Bangladesh was spamming paragraphs trying to protect his honor, and it just kept escalating.
Twitter exploding because I accidentally ate pork yesterday. I just ordered, okay, ribs, looks good. Not thinking like, are these pork ribs or beef ribs? It's ribs. You don't really.
And before anyone starts reaching, no, I am not funded by Israel, although I wish I was. That line alone shows how unhinged the conversation has gotten. It stopped being about pork a long time ago and turned into pure internet chaos. At this point, the pork isn't even the real story anymore. The real issue is how every single time Sneako slips up, it turns into a performance instead of accountability. One mistake turns into 5 explanations, 10 deflections, and somehow a whole religion gets dragged into it. That's why people are exhausted, not offended. Nobody was asking for perfection. People were just expecting a simple, yeah, that was on me, and keep it moving. Instead, we got stress, preaching, history lessons, and random comparisons that didn't even fit the moment. When you start over-explaining this hard, it makes people think you're hiding something, even if you're not. The internet doesn't punish mistakes, it punishes weird behavior, and this was weird behavior. One clip turns into Reddit threads, Twitter debates, and comment sections going to war. Some fans defend everything blindly, others attack everything blindly, and the middle ground gets ignored. What really set people off is the pattern. First the drinks, then the fasting slip, now the pork. Each moment alone isn't crazy, but stacked together, it paints a picture people don't trust. That's why the jokes hit harder than the criticism. At the end of the day, this wasn't about food, faith, or rules. It was about credibility. And once that starts cracking online, the internet never lets it go. So that's where this whole Sneako pork saga really lands. Not in a debate about food, not in some deep religious breakdown, but in trust and consistency. The internet doesn't expect saints, it expects honesty. One accidental bite shouldn't turn into a full-blown identity crisis with deflections, lectures, and shifting explanations. If he had laughed it off and owned it, this would have died in one clip. Instead, it turned into Reddit threads, Twitter debates, and comment sections going to war. Some fans defend everything blindly, others attack everything blindly, and the middle ground gets ignored. What really set people off is the pattern. First the drinks, then the fasting slip, now the pork. Each moment alone isn't crazy, but stacked together, it paints a picture people don't trust. That's why the jokes hit harder than the criticism. At the end of the day, this wasn't about food, faith, or rules. It was about credibility. And once that starts cracking online, the internet never lets it go. So that's where this whole Sneako pork saga really lands. Not in a debate about food, not in some deep religious breakdown, but in trust and consistency. The internet doesn't expect saints, it expects honesty. One accidental bite shouldn't turn into a full-blown identity crisis with deflections, lectures, and shifting explanations. If he had laughed it off and owned it, this would have died in one clip. Instead, it turned into Reddit threads, Twitter debates, and comment sections going to war. Some fans defend everything blindly, others attack everything blindly, and the middle ground gets ignored. What really set people off is the pattern. First the drinks, then the fasting slip, now the pork. Each moment alone isn't crazy, but stacked together, it paints a picture people don't trust. That's why the jokes hit harder than the criticism. At the end of the day, this wasn't about food, faith, or rules. It was about credibility. And once that starts cracking online,